You alluded to the fact that Les Snead had a big part in your growth. We talked about it earlier. Les and Kara Henderson, his wife, who are fantastic people who love you, thrive.
Big fans.
They thrive talking about you. Even when I was out there interviewing with Les, I was like, wow, I couldn't wait to try to secure this interview with you. So if I asked you one salient leadership point that you would take away from yourself from Les Snead, it doesn't have to be long and drawn out, what would that be?
I would definitely say lead with empathy. The ability to lead with empathy. Sometimes when things are happening to you and you're actually feeling it, you don't obviously consciously know it's happening, but you're just like, he's got good leadership. Like I want to listen. I want to reach out to him. But then when Les starts talking to me about leadership, and then we start sharing books and research and all that kind of stuff, and he's actually teaching me, and I said, wow, that actually, what you've been doing, which I thought really worked and resonated with me, then that's a leadership style or a leadership main point and cog that has really worked for me. And the other thing that I'd add is just being honest and direct, and there's a way of doing it, like there's a way to provide feedback. Everybody wants feedback, but everybody just doesn't want to hear the bad news. You know what I mean? But you don't want to fabricate or not be authentic or be disingenuous with good news. So it's just finding that balance of actually providing critical feedback and leading with empathy and being honest and direct, has bode well for me, but points that I've learned from Les.
Well, look, I think about empathic leading, what we're talking about here, and I think about Les, of course. I think about how important that was to me. And it's complicated, to your point, meaning there's a side of us who are competitive and driven and we always have that football element in the back of our world, whether we're big dudes like you or scrawny defensive backs playing in Canadian college football. It was something that was always a part of my drive, right? And so when I got into leadership roles within the NFL, there were times that I was like my tough, driven, hard-nosed element that I was brought up in a football family with a father who was a tough-ass dude. I had that, and I had to start looking at it a little bit differently, not being myself, because you still have to always be yourself to an earlier point.
Absolutely.
But you have to make sure that you are driving the point home. You have to make sure that there are times, I like to call it semantically responsible, right? How you deliver something in those earlier years in your leadership might be very different than how you're doing it now.
Absolutely.
Right? To make sure that morale is at the right spot.